Has it been a little bit of a down year for the Sun Belt? It's the Locked On Sun Belt.
You are Locked On Sun Belt, your daily podcast on the Sun Belt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sun Belt, your teams every day. This episode brought to you by Mazda. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, pulling off the unexpected is only the beginning. Stay tuned later for highlights in this week's Moving the Game Forward, Mazda. Move and be moved. All right. Is ULM the surprise of the year? Has sort of been down this way before. Feels like deja vu all over again. And App State can turn the season around with a win versus Boise State. We'll get into that. All right. Feels like it's been a down year, right? The big splash win so far, I guess two of them so far. The big one was Virginia Tech dismantling, or ODU dismantling Virginia Tech. But Virginia Tech stinks, right? I mean, I even got it, and it felt bad. You know, hey, did you talk to all my friends, last week? Was about, how about the Orange? And they're like, oh, Clemson stinks, right? That's what everybody's saying. It's not Syracuse, it's Clemson's bad. So it kind of feels like a backhanded compliment, not even a backhanded compliment. And so the other big win is UTSA over, again, the other way around, Texas State over UTSA. And so, like, who's playing well right now? Right? ODU's playing well, but, it's not the greatest resume. The best thing on their resume is a close loss to Indiana, right? What's JMU's resume, right? They've beaten two lesser opponents. Although fun to beat Liberty. And then when push come to shove, they got shoved around a little bit, although not very much, against Louisville. All right. Texas State had their shot against Arizona State. Arizona State coming off a tough loss to Mississippi State. Too many mistakes in the second quarter. Game spun out of control. Cajuns are not nearly as good as everybody, including me, thought they were going to be, although it's getting a little frustrating. They still want to be what they think they should be instead of what they are. You got to go with what you are and not what you want to be. That's, you're not a passing team. You got to run the football and play defense. You got to make the adjustments, and I don't think they have. But other than Texas State, JMU, and ODU, right? I mean, I don't know about contenders, but I mean, Georgia Southern's now 2-2. But all right, they beat Maine, and they had a nice come from behind win over Jacksonville State. That's for sure. After getting embarrassed, not once but twice out west. All right. And then we'll get to ULM, but they beat a lesser St. Francis squad and just UTEP, right? They're only 2-1, so their only loss is Alabama, right? And so they're going to get a chance to go, is this that difficult right now? They're going to Northwestern after Arkansas State. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, they beat Arkansas State. They're 3-1. They lose to Northwestern because they're Big Ten, 3-2. But they go into Coastal and beat Coastal. They're 4-2. They get Troy at home. Could they be 5-2 when they go into Southern Miss? Now, the end of the season, the last four games, you got Old Dominion at home. That's going to be hard, although it's going to be easy, not easy for Old Dominion as well, because when you don't play at Monroe a lot, it's going to be an issue. And then they have to go to Texas State. All right, they do get South Alabama and the Cajuns, and I don't know what those two teams are right now. But even if you go to the statistics, leading passer is AJ Swann, but that's just based on average of yards per game. He's got 5 touchdowns and 4 interceptions in 2.5 ball games. News is, though, he's playing, I will rephrase that. He practiced this week for App State. All right, Braylon Braxton, he's leading the league in passing with almost 1,100 yards, 9 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. but didn't play very well on the road against La Tech. Jaylen Raynor is not having the kind of year that I was hoping he would have. He has not taken the next step. You got to be ready from the opening kickoff, and they were down 21-0. They had Kansas State had 21 points, and Arkansas State had 10 plays. That's just not going to happen. All right. Brad Jackson's doing pretty well. 6 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's going to be rushing the football as well. Colton Joseph, he's doing pretty well. Obviously, he's not going to put up huge passing numbers because he's running. Those 3 interceptions, I believe that is mostly at least 2 were against, I think, Indiana. And he's got 5 touchdowns. But J.C. French hasn't played well. Bishop Davenport has played okay against Tulane and Auburn, but then lays an egg against Coastal Carolina. TJ Finley looks like he's going to lose his job. Alonzo Barnett III, starting to get better. All right. Goose is hurt. Aiden Armenta is not a prolific passer by any stretch of the imagination. Tad Hudson had an okay game, 14-25, but they did win by 18. And Tucker Kilcrease is the backup quarterback for Troy, although it did lead him back on a big win. So I'm none of those guys are all that great right now. Like, there's not a quarterback that's going to be, unless Braxton turns it around a little bit, or AJ Swann, I guess. But none of those quarterbacks are going to be in player of the year contention. Not right now. Now, for whatever reason, and I had to double check this, it says Carl Chester is leading the conference in receiving, 699 yards, but he only has 13 catches for 211 yards. So I'm not exactly sure where the 39 for 699 is coming from. So I did double check that. Jaden Barnes, second, 24 catches, 337 yards, 3 touchdowns. Bo Sparks from Texas State having a good year. 5 touchdowns. He, along with Camden Brown and Georgia Southern, leading the conference in that territory. Devin Voisin leading the conference with 27 catches. It's off to a good start. But is anyone putting up huge numbers? I guess Jaden Barnes and Bo Sparks are averaging over 100 yards a ball game. And Dalton Stroman from App State, almost 100 at 98.3. What about rushing? Rashad Dubinion's having a good year, 133 yards a game, got a couple of scores, averaging more than 5.5 yards a carry. Lincoln Perry doing well, but you know who averages the 3rd most yards rushing wise in the conference? Colton Joseph. 97 yards a game. All right. Kentrell Bullock's having a good year, running back for South Alabama. 91 yards a game. Traquan Jones had that one big ball game early on, averaging 88 yards a game. He's got 4 touchdowns. Tay Meadows from Troy, he's down to 84.3 yards a game. So, we'll have to start looking on the defensive side. We may get another Michael Green situation, because is anybody sticking out offensively yet? I don't think so. And so that is why maybe we haven't had that huge win, ODU and Vatech notwithstanding, and Texas State and UTSA notwithstanding. But that's about it. I mean, Vatech may be, I guess between them and Oklahoma State, the 2 worst Power 4 squads in the nation. Not looking good, but we'll see. Okay. Is ULM surprise team of the year? We'll talk about that next after I tell you about DoorDash and FanDuel. It's almost the weekend. Time to look back and crown this week's MVP. Who delivered? Powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash streaks, saving more every time you order, these players delivered when it matters most. Let's break it down. He may not have had the best week of all Sunbelt players, but down 17-0 already into the 4th quarter, Tucker Kilgrease delivered. Threw for a touchdown pass and ran one in as Troy overcomes a 17-0 4th quarter deficit to win on the road in Buffalo, 21-17 Very, very impressive. From the Troy Trojans, Tucker Gilcrease delivered in a big way, which we said what he did. All right. When the pressure was on, he came through. No hesitation, no delay. If you've been watching, we don't know if this performance was a fluke because that's the second time that Troy has come back late in the fourth. Tucker Gilcrease is on a streak. And just like Tucker delivered for the Troy Trojans, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays. With DoorDash streaks, you can save every Saturday you order. Stack it up all season, and you can save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period through 11/18. And FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel because it fits however you like to bet. Player props, building the same game parlay, or even jumping in as the action unfolds. Makes every game more exciting whether you're watching your team or just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the best way to add a little bit more energy to Sundays. So you're ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. We do try to find bright spots. All right. I mean, even if we look at the standings, what do the standings look like, right? I mean, Coastal is 2-2. They've already all of a sudden won 2 in a row, right? James Madison's 2-1. Old Dominion's 2-1. App is 2-1. Georgia Southern 2-2. Marshall 2-2. Yeah, I should bring up Marshall. They could be coming together. We'll see what happens when they go into Lafayette this weekend. Georgia State's 1-3. Southern Miss is 2-2. I don't know if that's just. I guess I'm just disappointed in the way Southern Miss played against La Tech. There's to me, and I'm sure to players and coaches, it doesn't matter. But there is ways to play well and still lose. You can still get beat, right? I mean, that's part of the deal. I was disappointed in their performance more so that they lost, right? I was looking for them to play better. Winning on the road is hard. Don't care who you're playing. Winning on the road is hard, as Arkansas State found out. But I was kind of just disappointed in the way they play. Texas State's 3-1, playing well. We'll see what ULM is. Troy is scraping together a couple wins. Arkansas State and the Cajuns and the Jaguars all 1-3. All right. Not everybody is. There's been only 2 Sunbelt games thus far. All right. And again, one of the big surprises, it was a surprise last year, and it is a surprise this season so far, is ULM. All right. They beat St. Francis. Not a whole lot of offense, 29-0. Certainly defense was good. 0 offense against Alabama. Not a surprise. 73-0 loss. Got way up top on UTEP. We recapped the game. But they did what they had to do to win. Win and move on. That's fine. And again, you have a shot. I don't think it's crazy if we're going to say they beat Arkansas State, that's 4-1. Lose to Northwestern, 4-2. Beat Coastal Carolina. I'm sorry, I missed it. 3-1. I'm sorry. If they beat Arkansas State, they'd be 3-1. Lose to Northwestern, 3-2. Beat Coastal, 4-2, and beat Troy. That's 5-2. That is jumping way ahead. All right, because maybe Coastal will have figured it out by then, and they'd be much better and tougher opponent to beat at home. But if you're 5-2 going into Southern Miss, and they just need that one more ball game to get to a bowl game, not saying they would beat Southern Miss, but then, I mean, you got South Alabama at home, and you got to finish on the road at Texas State and the Cajuns. We'll see what the Cajuns are. Just saw that George Jackson, offensive lineman, is out. So they're in a world of hurt. But could ULM be that surprise team again? It's certainly not JMU. Everyone picked them except me. I did pick ODU. All right. You could also go the other way. I do the surprise team of the year the other way. Obviously, I would think the Cajuns are the surprise team. Now, in this case, they're beat up. 2 of their starting wide receivers are down. The quarterback is down. Offensive line is down. They are beat up. Those are reasons versus excuses. Sometimes fans don't want to hear that, but I try to deal in reality as much as I can. And if the backups are playing, there's a reason that they were the backups. May have been a very small reason, but reason that they were backups instead of starting. And when you're practicing for a month, especially the offensive lineman is like the one group of guys that all have to be playing together, right? They're the ones, that's the one group. I mean, sometimes the defensive linemen, they're just all doing the same thing. There may be a stunt or a twist, but other than that, they're just rushing. Right? Corners are covering. If you're playing a zone, okay. But for the most part, the only group of players that are playing together, that offensive line. And when you're doing it for a month, getting ready for the season, it's one thing. You only get a couple of hours a day. I mean, you might get 6 hours of practice. Is it more than that? No one's practicing on Friday. That's a walkthrough. So a lot of times they do something on Sunday and they take Monday off. They did do like a Sunday night. South Alabama would do it at night where they just kind of do a quick not a walkthrough, but a quick review. And then they get they usually get Monday off, I guess. For school and stuff like that. In the pros, it's Tuesdays because they want guys to come in on Monday. They don't want them to go crazy after the games. So they come in, they actually go over stuff on Monday, and then their off day is Tuesday. Anyway, so let's see what ULM is. I mean, remember Brian Vincent, I'm pretty sure he played, with Jacksonville State. Now, and he came back. Now he's the temporary aide. He's the interim AD. Now we'll see if he may not be leaving anywhere off as interim AD. Can he extend his own contract? Can he give himself a contract extension? So we'll see. But right now, ULM is the positive surprise of the year, and the Cajuns are obviously a huge disappointment, as is, to me, Arkansas State. Other people did not think highly of them. I did. So far, I'm wrong. No, a little bit disappointed. I'm more disappointed in Arkansas State than I am in me. All right. App State can turn their season around versus a win against Boise State. We talk about that next, right after I tell you about Mazda. This episode brought to you by Mazda. Mazda is moving the game forward. For those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. There are moments that do more than put points on the board. They move crowds, move culture, and keep moving the game forward. We just got done talking about ULM. They very easily could have lost that ball game. They had a huge lead, but they got not one, but 2 interceptions in that fourth quarter, holding off UTEP, who made a furious comeback at home, but it was ULM coming away with the victory late. When you follow what moves, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like that, there's more to every highlight. There's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. And as I posted last year, when we had Coach Clark on in the spring, and you know it's spring because I was still doing it from Lafayette. But I mean, it was a tough year last year, right? Jack Murphy, Helene just didn't live up to the expectations, right? They're still digging out of what was left behind from Helene. And now, although it doesn't affect them directly, well, it certainly does affect some people, obviously directly. But they didn't lose a coach, but they lost a friend, right? In Sean Clark. All right. And so maybe getting back to on the field and rallying around his memory, as ridiculous as that sounds, but okay. They can really go into Boise, and they got a good rush defense, right? Again, if you stop turning the ball over, if you can slow down Boise's rushing offense, you got a shot. All right. And again, it's not so much the disappointment in this case that App State lost to Southern Miss. It's how they lost, right? If you aren't getting first downs and you're just getting beat up because the other team's better, okay. But I don't want to hear that, Southern Miss played soft defense, allowed App State to march down the field, not once, not twice, but 3 times, and then tighten up the defense in the red zone. Because they handed them the game. All right. But that's where you're disappointed, because you could have won the football game. All right. Maybe you should have won the football game, but you lost it badly, as it turns out. And so can you turn that around against Boise? Boise's a huge favorite in this one. This is not, no one thinks this game is going to be close, as it turns out right now. Nobody is predicting this being a close football game. If I can get that spread here. Oh, do we not have the spread? Oh, you know why? They probably took it off the board because they don't know who the quarterback is yet. I thought we saw it was like 16 and a half. All right. But it's off the board for now. But it's not close. It was not close. Let's see what the predictor is. What do we think the predictor is? I mean, they think Boise's going to win this 85% of the time. All right. I don't think it's not 85% chance. It's 85% of simulators has Boise State winning this football game. Again, App State can slow down a rushing attack. All right. Let's see what happens. They can put some points up on the board. And if you can force Boise to be that one-dimensional team, they're beatable. If you can't stop the rush, and the quarterback back there has some time, and he can put it in between the linebackers and the safeties with the play-action pass, it's going to be a long day. Right? And I guess I shouldn't say turn around their season. They're 2-1. They start just to play better this week than they had 2 weeks ago. That's what we're looking for. And who do they have after that? I mean, then they get Oregon State. It's very odd. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Their first 5 ball games, they're playing one Sun Belt team with a week off in there. Although I guess that would be the same thing as if you played the 4 out-of-conference games, and then in your 5th game, you played the Sun Belt. It's all the same, I guess. Oregon State just took it on the chin badly to Oregon. I mean, can you win 2 in a row? Can you go in there and beat Boise State? Can you stop making them foolish turnovers and penalties? It's one thing if the ball gets tipped and again picked off, or you make a bad throw. But the decisions is what I think kills probably Dowell Loggins. It's not necessarily, I mean, the throw on the first interception was just brutal. Right into the lap of the defender. Good catch by him. You still got to make the catch. And so often, don't we hear, boy, if the defensive back just turned around, he would have caught the football. Well, in this case, he did. But there's no way for that offensive player to catch the ball. So often we hear it, especially in the end zone, right? Boy, he put it, the only place who could make that catch was going to be the wide receiver. And if he didn't catch it, it was going to be incomplete. Stop making those mistakes, and maybe you have a shot against Boise State. We'll see what that line is when it comes out. I swear I saw it came out yesterday, but maybe they finally caught on that they don't know who the quarterback is just yet. All right. So we'll see what happens with that. But overall, it just has not been a very good year for the Sun Belt just yet. We'll see if that changes. You're getting JMU fans in the comments saying ODU is for real. All right. This is going to be the biggest build-up game we got, and it's in 3 weeks. All right. Again, I don't know why I'm coming or going right now, so it would be nice to go there, but that probably is not a realistic possibility. But we'll see. What happened? I can tell you right now, what happened today is not what I thought was going to happen. So when I say today, I mean Wednesday. I thought something else was going to happen, and it didn't. So to think I know what's coming, I don't. So we'll just guess that's what makes it life. You just never know what's going to happen. So it'd be just nice to see teams turn it around. We'll see what Marshall could be. They go into the Cajuns. That's 3 in a row. If they go into Lafayette and beat them, all of a sudden, they had the one bad loss. I mean, Georgia's Georgia, but you lose to Missouri State because you miss a chippy of a field goal. And all of a sudden, you've rattled off 3 straight wins. Tony Gibson's team would be looking pretty good, right? They'd be looking pretty good. So we'll see. And maybe Coastal Carolina did figure it out. They put Tad Hudson in, struggled his first game in a big way. And we'll see, played okay in his second game. Wasn't any great shakes, but they won going away. It wasn't very close. And so we'll see what happens moving forward. But we'd like to see a little bit more better play out of the Sun Belt. And I don't think we've seen that just yet, at least not consistently. I think JMU's played well. But again, who have they played? ODU's played well. But who have they played? Well, Indiana. Again, that looks like the ODU score to Indiana is looking better and better, is what it looks like, especially right after they did in Illinois. But right now, it's like JMU, ODU, and Texas State are on their own little tier. We'll see if anybody else wants to jump into that. Okay, we'll do a full preview of Week 5 for Friday's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in to a Locked On Sunbelt. You guys have a great Thursday. We'll talk to you again on Friday.